Faith was frozen, incredulous at what she had just heard. Her best friend's child had royal blood. All hail Amelia Rivera, Princess of Spain, Faith shouted in excitement. Amelia chuckled. Faith, that's not exactly how it works. She was relieved she made the right choice by bringing Faith to the rooftop, an isolated spot to break the news. Otherwise, she'd be standing atop the lunchroom tables yelling, "My godson is the future Prince of Spain!" Once her friend seemed to have processed the info and calmed down a bit, Amelia took her hand. Did you get it all out of your system? Faith was still buzzing. Not even close. Have you met the king and queen? Is it true you can't turn your back on royalty? Are there things a prince won't do in bed? Amelia laughed. I doubt I will ever meet them. If I do, no idea if I'm permitted to turn my back on them, and Javier and I are not having sex. Though we did kiss in bed. Faith clasped Amelia's hands. What do you mean you kissed in bed? Amelia quickly tried to explain. Oh, so Max and I are also living with Javier. Faith's eyes went wide. You're playing house with a prince in his mansion? Amelia sighed, realizing how overwhelming this all must be for Faith. So she tried to manage her excitement. I'll tell you the same thing I constantly tell Max. I'm not going to fall in love and marry the prince. In his world, marriages are arranged based on political interests. And Javier already has a betrothed or whatever, Paloma Sans. Faith scrunched her nose up. Her name is Paloma? Ugh, I hate her already. Amelia chuckled. It's okay. I've seen them together, and they actually make a perfect fairy tale couple, she said with a hint of sadness. Faith wrapped her arms around Amelia in a big hug and looked her in the eye with sincerity. Thank you for entrusting me with this mind-blowing information. I will die before I leak the truth of my godson's paternity to a soul. Your secrets are safe with me. Now, I need a detailed description of how Prince Javier's lips felt. Amelia playfully lifted a brow. Just his lips? Faith gasped. Trollop. But you said you didn't have sex. Amelia leaned in and whispered, How do you think Max was made? Faith chuckled. Right. Yeah. But since then, there may have been a sponge bath. Amelia blushed. Oh! Faith's eyes grew wide. I need details, lady. Do tell. Faith proceeded to internally combust as Amelia regaled her with her stint as Javier's nurse. Amelia felt the best she'd felt in weeks, like a weight had been lifted, now that she'd come clean to Faith. Over at the Spanish consulate, the prince was with Victor in his temporary new office space, reviewing the latest on the bombing investigation. Just then, Dr. Marquez arrived. Good morning, Javier. Victor, greeted the cheerful doctor. It's that time of the week. Javier seemed annoyed. I'm busy right now, Manuel. Wearing his lab coat and his usual easy grin, Manuel proceeded to open his medical kit, undeterred. If I waited until you wanted to change your bandages, it'd never get done. Man up. You're royal, chicken. Let's do this. Only a handful of people in the world could speak to the prince like that and not lose their heads. Javier groaned and reluctantly removed his shirt to give the doctor access to his bandages. Be quick, Manuel, the prince said impatiently. Manuel inspected the wounds with a raised brow. These are healing faster than anything I've ever seen. Amelia must be working some kind of magic. He smirked as he dabbed ointment onto the injuries. Javier retorted sharply. Amelia has nothing to do with anything. Manuel chuckled, applying fresh gauze. I might be a man of science, but I'm starting to believe that new miracle method of yours really works. Victor looked up from his folder, curious. What's the miracle method? Like holistic medicine? Manuel grinned. It's more like physical therapy, administered mouth to mouth. Javier glared daggers at Manuel, while Victor knitted his brow, still confused. Then, suddenly, he got it. Oh, wait, did he say Amelia and his boss? Mouth to mouth? Victor thought back to the time he caught Amelia straddling Javier in the back of the limo, and the red bite marks prevalent on his neck the next day. Now, apparently, they were making out in front of the good doctor. This was unlike his careful and controlled boss, who was never messy with women. Miss Rivera had a special effect on him indeed. But considering that Victor was in the midst of organizing a dinner banquet in honor of the prince's future fiancée, he started to feel a headache coming on. The doctor snapped his medical kit shut. Well, my work here is done. Thank you, Manuel, Javier said. I appreciate your friendship. Manuel smiled as he walked to the door. You can always count on me, Your Highness, he said playfully, turning around and giving a mock salute before shutting the door behind him. Your Highness, are you attending the general meeting at 5? Victor inquired. Javier buttoned up his shirt and grabbed his briefcase. No. Tell the driver I plan to head home. Javier used to be the first to arrive at the office and the last to leave. Victor couldn't help but notice that he recently began to prioritize spending more time at home. His boss seemed to be changing in more ways than one since Max and Amelia came into his life. When Javier returned home that evening, the butler greeted him. Have you eaten, Your Highness? Not yet, Javier sighed, clearly worn out. He had ignored Dr. Marquez's orders to pace himself and was feeling the consequences. What's on the chef's menu for dinner? Mr. Grant stepped forward. Tonight, we have roast lamb served with truffle risotto, or, if you'd prefer fish, the sea bass just arrived from Spain and can be baked to perfection. Javier's mind drifted, his disinterest evident until he caught sight of Amelia descending the staircase with a small basket of laundry. Despite the staff's frequent offers to take care of it, she still insisted on doing her and Max's laundry. She didn't want to become too accustomed to a life of luxury, knowing she'd have to move out one day. Without taking his eyes off her, Javier grinned and told Mr. Grant, I like empanadas. The butler was surprised, but nodded. I'll have the chef start them right away. Javier shook his head. Not necessary. I meant Amelia's empanadas. He said it loudly enough for her to hear, and she froze mid-step. Javier and Mr. Grant both stared up at her expectantly. Amelia's last interaction with Javier had been tense. He tried to tell her who to date. Now he was asking her to cook for him? She raised a brow. Was that a request or an order? Javier tilted his head with a faint smile. Neither. Just a craving. Amelia narrowed her eyes as she walked down the steps to meet him. Then, pointedly, deposited her laundry basket into his arms. He looked down at the dirty clothes he was now carrying, confused. What's this? Negotiating. Nothing in life is free, Your Highness. Let's trade. I'll cook 1 plate of empanadas if you wash 1 load of your son's laundry. Or is a single chore too daunting for you? Javier flashed her a smug grin. I was a trained Spanish soldier. I can make a bed, wash clothes, and mop a floor till it shines. You have yourself a deal. Amelia stared back at Javier with a challenging gaze. Good. But you can't pawn the laundry off on the maids. Please. I'm a man of honor, Miss Rivera. Javier's lips curled as he walked off, laundry basket in hand. Mr. Grant was left dumbfounded by the sight. Later that night, Javier retired to his study after washing and folding his end of the deal. He sat hunched over some documents when Amelia entered with a tray of golden brown empanadas. As the fresh aroma filled the air, Amelia noticed the slight slump in Javier's shoulders and how the tension in his brow softened ever so slightly at the scent. Amelia smiled. Smells good, huh? Javier grunted in response, playing it cool. But the audible growl of his stomach betrayed him. She chuckled at the sound. I saw all the folded piles of clothes on Max's dresser. Not bad, Your Highness. She placed the tray in front of him. I promise I didn't spit any of these out this time. Bon appetit. A smile softened his face. Thank you. Did you take some for yourself and Max? Amelia nodded and stood by, amused, waiting to watch the first bite. Javier picked up an empanada, the flaky crust crumbling slightly under his touch. He bit into it and let out a satisfied moan. On that note, Amelia smiled to herself, then turned to leave. Amelia, he finally called out. She paused, her hand lingering near the doorframe. What is it? About last night, he continued. Am I finally getting an apology? She wondered. You never told me what you wanted to thank me for, he said. Her shoulders sagged slightly in disappointment. Oh, I forgot. Actually, it probably wasn't that important. But I do have some good news. I got reinstated at my job. Javier leaned back in his chair, his tone neutral. That's fantastic. How did that happen? It seems I have a guardian angel looking out for me. She thought briefly of Thomas and smiled. I think I'll thank him with the delicious home-cooked dinner. Javier raised an eyebrow, positive she was referring to himself. I'm sure your angel will love it. He took another bite of the empanada, savoring the moment. The next morning, Amelia and Thomas had plans to meet for breakfast at the Gables Golf Club. So she woke up extra early and went to the kitchen to prep the dinner she intended to make for him later. When Javier entered the dining room, he found Max already seated and enjoying his breakfast alone. Javier bent down and kissed Max on the head before taking his seat at the head of the table. Where's Amelia? He asked. In the kitchen, replied Max. She woke up early to prepare a thank you dinner she's making for someone later. It smells so good, Dad, you don't even know. Javier smiled. I think I'll know soon enough. He winked at Max, who giggled. Just then, Amelia rushed in, looking slightly frazzled but effortlessly cute in a white polo and golf skirt. I have to run. If I'm any later, my breakfast date will turn into brunch. Max waved her off. You look very pretty, Mom. I wish. I'm a mess. She kissed Max on the forehead. Be good. Without even saying goodbye to Javier, she grabbed her things and left in a hurry. Max turned to Javier. Dad, Do you still call it a blind date if you already saw the person on the first date? Javier didn't respond, as he recalled overhearing Amelia on the phone the other night, agreeing to meet the divorced teacher at a golf club. Javier typed something on his phone. Seconds later, Victor appeared. You wanted to go over your schedule today? The assistant asked. You have a racquetball game with Japan's general consul, Mr. Nakoma, at 11. Javier shook his head. Racquetball will be too strenuous for my injuries. He paused, considering. Instead, ask if his team will meet me for a round of golf at the Gables Golf Club. To find out what happens next, download the Pocket FM app in the next minute to get free access to all episodes of The Royal Accident for free.